Hello, my name's Michael Lambert and I'm an entrepreneur. I want to talk a bit about tax evasion because it's quite a big problem and it's a problem that's growing. One of the reasons it's growing exponentially is because it is so easy. If you have a small business and you want to evade tax, it's really simple. And it's almost risk-free. And unfortunately, a lot of foreigners have learnt this, and people who want to launder money and so on, they come to the UK, set up a load of companies, and they do it very easily without any risk. In fact, I mean, having spoken to some of these people who are involved in this money laundering, London is now the favourite place. It's ahead of Dubai and Turkey. Apparently, those are the three places that they most like to go to launder money because it's so risk-free, and London is considered the easiest. So let me explain how they do it. If you want to get any credit agreement in the UK, you need photo ID, you need probably a couple of proofs of address, maybe other information as well. If you're doing it in the name of a business, you obviously need the certificate of incorporation and the registered address and all the rest of it. But anyway, anybody giving you any credit will always insist upon knowing exactly who you are so it cannot be disputed, and exactly where you live so it cannot be disputed. Now, if I'm a drug smuggler, or I'm in the people smuggling business, or I don't know, might be embezzling money somewhere, I might have got dirty money from Russia or from Africa or whatever, and I want to come to London, I want to launder it in London. I need a business. And to set up a business, I need a company. Now, to form a company, you can do this online. It costs you less than £10. And what you need is a name, an address, and a date of birth of one director. That's it. You have your company. Now, people don't use fictitious addresses or names and addresses, although they could do. What they'll do is they'll use some nominee or somebody who knows somebody, a van driver, or it could be anybody. Just stick their name down, provided they have the right to live here and they have a national insurance number. And so they form the company with this sole director, and then they open a bank account with that director, and then they get a VAT number, and they're ready to go. A few months down the line, that director will resign and another one will take over who you've got control over. So you have a company with which to trade. You might open 10 companies. So what do? You go off to China to buy some goods, and you find someone, for example, from whom you're going to buy, say, 10,000 items at $1 each. And you do a deal with a supplier, and I tell you there are countless suppliers in China who are prepared to do this. You say to the supplier, make me out an invoice for 1,000 units at 10 cents each, or 10,000 units at 10 cents each. So the invoice value is $1,000 instead of $10,000. And you pay him that $1,000 by bank transfer. The rest of the money, the other $9,000, you pay by cash. It's either cash you've brought with you or somebody else has brought for you, or, you know, there are so many ways. Send it through Western Union. It's not difficult for these people to move cash around the place. So you've got $10,000 worth of stuff for $1,000 on paper, and when it arrives in the UK, you pay the import duty and VAT on the 10%, the $1,000. You've then got 90% of those goods to sell for cash without VAT. Apart from anything else, this enables you to undercut all honest suppliers. So you can just grab the market very, very quickly. You're 20% cheaper than anybody else. You've probably bought products that have been copied from established people already in the market. So you're off to a flying start. Now, this is not the clever bit. The clever bit is this, that in the UK, if you have a company, you form a company, after 18 months, you're supposed to submit some accounts. Now, in the old days, you had to get an accountant to look at your books and sign them off, and he put his name to your accounts being right and so on. Nowadays, all you have to do is go online, fill in whatever numbers you like. Nobody's ever going to check. Put in any numbers you like, and that's that. But if you don't do it, they start chasing you. So you don't want them chasing you. You don't want anything to do with them, really. So what you do is this. After about 15 months, you form a new company. And then you transfer the whole business from the original company to the new company. You have the same products, the same suppliers, the same customers, the same staff, the same premises. Nothing changes except the name of the company. One company owned it yesterday, another company owns it today. And you wait 3 months, and you write to company's house, and you say, Company A, the first company, is no longer trading. Will you please strike it off? And they do. Now, you've made sure that that first company owes PAYE, owes VAT, it owes business rates, it owes creditors you're not going to pay. It might have tens of thousands of debts, all gone. Because the company doesn't exist. You can't chase somebody who doesn't exist. It's gone. The director is somebody who will have disappeared anyway, who nobody knows of. And this is happening all the time. This is a standard business model amongst certain business communities, all the time. I'm making this video really because I was persuaded to do so by a very good friend of mine who has effectively lost everything by coming into competition with these people who just came in and took his market. And he's persisted with this for 9 years, since 2011. He's been trying to get something done about it, and nothing has been done about it. The businesses have just grown and grown and grown. But there's a very big problem here, and it's this, that, and you're going to find some of this quite shocking, I think. HMRC do not want to know. They do not want to be told about these criminals. My friend has been writing since 2011 to HMRC, and originally directly and later on via his MP. And he's asked me to read some of the letters he's received, and I will read them in a future video. He has copies of letters from a former Chancellor of the Exchequer writing to HMRC, asking them to look into these alleged frauds. Nothing happened. He has a letter from the Chief Executive Officer, the number one at HMRC, asking him not to supply any further information, no matter how incriminating, no matter how serious, to HMRC. The reason given was that sending further information could jeopardize their confidentiality procedures, as other staff might see the correspondence. He has a letter. Again, I will read this letter to you, and I'll name everybody, and I'll name who wrote the letters and give you the dates, the whole lot. He has another letter from the head of customer compliance at HMRC, a woman who is staggeringly stupid. She must be the stupidest woman that's ever risen to high office in any government organisation. She wrote, this is in 2016, she wrote saying, 2018, sorry, she wrote saying, we've asked you not to send any further information at all because this could jeopardise our confidentiality procedures, as other colleagues might see the correspondence. I will read you a letter from a senior Treasury Minister in which he wrote, HMRC have a strict legal obligation to maintain confidentiality and to protect the identity of their sources. But they may have difficulty in doing so if people write to different addresses within HMRC, and this is why they have asked you not to provide them with any further information. Bear in mind, throughout this criminal empire has just been growing and growing and growing. When my friend's MP wrote back to the minister and saying this is utter nonsense, how can you write such rubbish? The minister wrote back, explaining in great detail that there was no question that HMRC maintained absolute confidentiality and protected all data. But the reason they'd asked not to be sent any further data was because the wrong person at HMRC might see it. So that's three of them. The CEO, Head of Customs Compliance, Treasury Minister, all saying, don't send us information because the wrong person might see it. It's like the Commissioner of Metropolitan Police saying, don't send us information about serial killers, don't send us any evidence because the wrong policeman might see it. What, of course, it meant was that HMRC had decided, for whatever reason, which we will discuss in further emails, further videos, they had obviously decided not to investigate. Why would you ask not to be told anything about something that you were going to investigate? I will also explain to you how my friend has sent evidence, actual evidence, in the form of hundreds of photocopies of illegal cash sales invoices to the CEO, Head of Compliance, and all of the commissioners, and 4 of the non-executive directors of HMRC, all by registered post over a period of about 15 months, during which time the crime was continuing. And it is these invoices are from a very, very small player in this game. There are much bigger players, but they did show that this particular supplier was responsible for tax evasion, VAT evasion of somewhere around 300,000 a year. Now, people go to prison for that. So there's a very serious problem, and there's a very serious question as to why HMRC are so determined not to know about crimes that are going on, tax evasion that's going on, which everybody knows about, which those who are perpetrating them don't even try to hide. Whenever challenged or threatened, these people say, HMRC will never touch us. The government will never touch us. They know what we're doing. And so HMRC has become a laughingstock amongst these people. They cannot believe, they come to the UK, set up all these businesses, they cannot believe that you can conduct business for year after year, in this case for 10 years, without ever being questioned by HMRC, despite the wealth of evidence there is of what they're doing. Now, I'll just leave you with a short story to illustrate the attitude of people towards HMRC in the UK compared with other countries. I mentioned in an earlier video that we had around 200 customers throughout Europe, throughout the EU, to whom we were selling on a regular basis. They're all small customers, all independent shops, and this all came to an end because of Brexit. We had to close the business, but it was a very successful business. And what used to happen, for example, in Paris, and I had this experience many times, because I would go to see these people to collect money perhaps, or to collect orders or whatever, or just say hello. And time again, I'd go to a shop and the owner would be there behind the till perhaps, and I'd say, can you pay this invoice for 200 euros? And they'd say, yes, but could we have a quiet word first? Not here. So I'd say, yep. Oh, this happened so many times. I knew exactly what was coming, and so I'd be invited to go to the back to the stock room or downstairs to the basement, and the door will be shut, and in a whisper, the person would say to me, "Could I pay this invoice in cash? Could we rip up the invoice?" Now, I, being about as stupid as you can be, always said no. I was concerned about what effect it would have on my stock if I had some stuff being sold for cash, and besides which I didn't really want to I didn't want to go down that route. Had I done so, I would have been much better off, and I'd have taken hundreds of thousands of euros over a 20-year period, which HMRC would never know about. So anyway, I would always say no, and that was that. And it was similar. I mean, in Amsterdam, for example, we had a lot of customers in Amsterdam. They would never even mentioned it because they were terrified of HMRC, of the tax authority, as in France, terrified the taxman might find out. I had a customer in the UK about 3 or 4 years ago. He owed me £600. And he wouldn't pay it. It got to about 6 months, and I phoned him up, and eventually I spoke to him, and I said, can you pay me my money? So he said, yeah. Come to the shop on Saturday. He had a warehouse in the East End. He was selling clothing and stuff, and fabrics. Come to the warehouse on Saturday. I'll be there all day. It's our busy day, and I'll pay you then. So I fine. I was about to put the phone down. He said, but I'm not paying the VAT. So I said, well, what do you mean you're not paying the VAT? He said, I'm not paying the VAT. He said, if you want your money, I'll pay you, but I'm not paying the VAT. Now, I knew that by this time, so 6 months has gone, he's claimed back the VAT. I've already paid it. So nonetheless, I went round on the Saturday afternoon. I waited till the shop was absolutely full of people. There were about 15 or 20 customers there, 5 or 6 staff. And I went up to him, and he happened to be on the till. I went up to him, I said, I've come for my money. He said, without lowering his voice at all, he said, OK, I'll pay in a minute, but I'm not paying the VAT. So I thought I'll make a bit of a scene. So I stood back right in the middle of the shop, and I said in a very loud voice, so you're asking me to help you defraud HMRC. Now, I thought he'd be terrified. I thought he'd say, shush, 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 no, please, OK, I'll pay you, please be quiet. Instead of that, he shouted across the whole shop for everyone to hear, I am not paying VAT, I don't pay VAT, you don't pay VAT, nobody does, everybody's fiddling their tax, so don't come in here talking about VAT, I'm not paying it. He said, if you want your money, I'll pay you, but no VAT. He said, if you don't like it, leave. In front of everybody. 25 people would have heard it. No concern whatsoever that it might get back to HMRC and he's not paying VAT. So I sued him, and I got judgment. Nothing happened. So I sent the bailiffs around. This cost me another £300 or £400. By this time, the £600 had got to sort of £1,200. Bailiffs arrived at the shop, went up to the till, and who should be on the till but this guy's brother? So the bailiffs produced their warrant and said, we've come to distrain, we've come to take goods away. Here's our documentation. And the guy behind the till, the brother, got out a certificate of incorporation for another company and said, no, that company doesn't exist anymore. This is the new company. Everything in the shop belongs to the new company. So the bailiffs left. 3 weeks later, I noticed that he'd written to Companies House asking for the company to be dissolved. So I wrote to Companies House. I said, look, this guy owes me money, I've got judgment and so on. Also, he's been trading within 3 month period, which is the 3 months gap that you've got to have before you can ask for a company to be dissolved. And they wrote back saying, we can't really deal with this sort of thing, but we'll delay striking the company off for 3 weeks should you wish to go to the police or HMRC. In fact, a lot of good that would do. So that was it. I've no idea how much money the first company owed. I'm not quite sure it would have owed VAT and PAYE. All gone. And there's this guy's brother running the new company. That's how easy it is. That's how easy it is. And HMRC insist they do not want to know. So there's some big problems here. There's some big questions that need to be asked about HMRC and their excessive power, the fact that they can decide who to investigate, who not to investigate. They can turn a blind eye to anything they want to turn a blind eye to. And there are obviously all sorts of questions about why they should decide to. And those are all things that I will cover in future videos. But that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.